So all this stuff that's on here now is kind of like the basics of the kayak: your PDL drive, your seat, and a net. The net doesn't come with the kayak, sadly, but if it did, it would be really cool. Basically what I do, I just take the PDL drive. Whenever I'm storing it, I always just keep it locked in, just because it's kind of like personal preference. I know, you know me, I'll just knock it off, and I don't want to do that. So I always keep the PDL drive locked in. I just sit that in the bed of the truck, and I sit my kayak at an angle. My bed's 5.5 foot, and with the tailgate down, it's probably like 6.5 foot. I'm not sure how they're measured, but it's either 5.5 foot or 6.5 foot, and then with the bed down, just adds an extra foot. The kayak is 12 feet long, so when you put it at an angle, there's only maybe about 2-3 feet that hang out of the bed. That's perfect. I put this in like a little corner of the bed. I'll show you when I put it in there, but I put it in the corner so like the kayak will kind of block it. If you have a lot of gear, if you're fishing a tournament or something, you might have a lot of gear that you're taking with you. So as much free space as I can free up on the inside of my truck, I try to do. And that PDL drop is so heavy, I really don't worry about it like flying off the bed of the truck or anything. But I do put my seat on the inside because I think that probably would fly off with the kayak. We're gonna go ahead and load this stuff up, and then I'll show you how I load the kayak. All right, so here's the deal. Before I actually got my kayak, I started back working out because the kayak's maybe unloaded, I'd say about 75, 80 pounds. So what I like to do, I just grab it on each side and pick it up, like drop it in the truck. I know that's probably not the most conventional way, that might not help a lot of you, but the only bad thing is too, I live in an apartment, so it's kind of difficult to, like, I don't have a lot of driving space, so I couldn't really back my truck up in the fishing sauna to just roll it up. But I know some people put their kayak on like a big dolly so they can just roll it up to the back of their truck and push it in, which I could probably do that, but I just pick it up and sit in the back. It's not super heavy, but if you have something heavier like a Hobie kayak or something like that, it might be kind of difficult. So what we do, we just pick it up on each side and just kind of muscle it out, and it's kind of long and awkward, but it's not really that bad. It could be a lot worse. I'll show you all the process of that, because sometimes it's not pretty because it's a little awkward space right here. Alright, so that's how we do that. Basically, I like to put it with the backside facing on the side that you drive on the driver's side, on the left side. So when I'm driving down the road, I can always see if it's back here. And also I have this little red t-shirt I cut off as like a little marker. So if somebody hits it, I can't get sued for that, or however that legal process would go. But basically what I do is I just run a ratchet strap. I run like the hook side of the strap right here and put it through the little handle in the back here, and then I just connect it to like the ratchet side over here, and I'll show you all that too. Pretty much it. Also, I have these little wheels for transporting it. I'll talk about those when we get to the pond though. But see, the only way that's coming off is if there is a terrible, terrible accident. Hopefully there's not gonna be though. But yeah, so I just run it from right here through this side handle right here that I used to pick it up with to load it in the truck, to the back handle, and then I just use the ratchet side, connect it to the strap over here, and then you're good to go pretty much. I've never had any problems with it moving or anything like that. You just have to make sure your ratchet strap's tight. It doesn't have to be all the way tight, but it needs to be snug, if that makes sense. I've heard people say that you shouldn't use ratchet straps on kayaks, but until something happens or I see a result from that, I'm gonna keep using it. Sometimes I just throw these wheels back here in the back with the PDL drive, depending on where I'm going. Normally I just throw them in here just in case, because sometimes plans change throughout the day. And I'll kind of tell you the function of those later. So I just keep my PDL drive right here, wheels, and then that just kind of makes like this little separate storage area where none of this stuff is gonna go anywhere. And that's how I keep my kayak. I'm gonna show y'all my pond fishing rig though, so stay tuned. All right, so guys, this is my kayak. This is Old Town Salty PDL 120. This is like the biggest, best, baddest thing that could have ever happened to me. I love this kayak to death. I use it probably at least once a week. I go out and fish in the kayak. I try to. I really just enjoy kayak fishing. And ever since I got the kayak, I really don't even like going out and like bank fishing anymore. I just like kayak fish, because you can just get so many more places in a fancy kayak like this. So I had a lot of questions and stuff I didn't understand about this kayak when I first got it, and try to tell y'all some things that might help y'all if you're looking to buy a kayak or if you just got a new kayak, or things from a amateur kayak fisherman that doesn't fish tournaments but likes to fish ponds, if that makes sense. So this is just going to be like a little rundown like that. So in the very front, you have a carrying handle and a little drainage plug up here. This drainage plug, I haven't had to use it yet. I probably should just try to drain it. I don't think there's any water in the kayak, but you never know. This carry handle, I normally use it if I have the wheels attached to the bottom of the kayak, which I'll talk about that a little later. If I had the wheels attached, I normally use this front handle just to drag the kayak around. Just moving up on the kayak, we have a net. This is a Freybill net. I really like this net because it's like a one-arm net. You can land a fish either like that. Sometimes I like to hold it like this just because it's a little bit closer up. And one thing about this net, it does not float. So if you like the style of this net, just know that it doesn't float. So if it falls in the water, it might sink. I might have had this net sink on me and luckily caught it a couple times. So it's a nice one-arm net, so you're fighting the fish with this arm, or you can swap it up. Normally I like to have the net in my right hand because I am right-handed, so I can just hold the fish in the rod with my left hand. That doesn't take that much skill, and then net it with the left hand, or the right hand, excuse me. Net, right here you have a little bit of storage. This is normally where, like if I have a soft shell cooler or something like that, I'll either put it in the front or back depending on how long I'll be out. If I'm gonna be out for a long time, it's a little bit easier for me to reach up in front of me because I have longer arms and normally my seat isn't too far back, so I can just reach up, grab whatever I want out of the cooler or whatever I want to keep up here. Sometimes it's the cooler, sometimes it's soft plastics, like a box of soft plastics. You've probably seen me have both of those in videos. Next is the PDL drive. This is a lifesaver, so you don't have to use your paddle. I think that this is probably like one of the coolest things. When I used to want a kayak, you know, stuff like this wasn't out 2-3 years ago. Or at least not to my knowledge, at least. Hey, there's a GoPro battery in here. That's a good find. I'm gonna keep that. Need to open this thing more often. But anyway, guys, this is your PDL drive. So basically, these bicycle pedals up here spin a propeller at the bottom, and that's what propels you forward and back. So with your PDL drive, you have forward. It's just like a bicycle. If you know how to ride a bicycle, you can pedal this kayak. You go forward to go forward, you go backward. It could either be like your brake or your reverse. And then to steer, you have a rudder in the back and then like a little steering wheel on the side, but we'll talk about that. I haven't had any like modifications. I have the like stock pedals on. I know some people change stuff like that out. So inside of this, what I like to do when I fish ponds is if I have to have like permission, if I have a note from somebody, or if it's like a state lake and they give you the little permission slip, what I like to keep in here, one, I like to keep the little locks in here for the pedal drive because these will break. If you hit a rock or if you hit a stump or something like that, these, where it snaps down at, I'll show you in a second, where it snaps down at, it's designed just to pop off, and I broke it a couple times. I keep that, and I keep like a little Allen key so I can switch out in the water. It doesn't ruin your day, or you don't have to pedal around for the rest of the day. So those are key, and also just having this little dry box, just like a little bit of extra dry storage, because when you open this, if it's raining, it's still gonna rain inside of it, but water won't ever get into this. I've never had any water get into my dry box on here, but I just keep my little papers. I have a couple like permission slips and whatnot. So if anybody ever comes and tries to mess with you, you just open up your dry box, open up the little small Plano case you have in the dry box and be like, hey, I'm legal, I'm supposed to be here. And normally I'll keep like my GoPro batteries or any batteries, anything I don't want to get wet, anything expensive, I normally keep it here. And maybe I might, every now and then I'll throw like an extra lure in there. This frit side's been in here for Lord knows how long, but this is just like kind of a go-to lure. It's an emergency frit side just in case I break one off. Yeah, you have side rails right here. I don't have a fish finder or anything mounted onto the kayak. I do want to do that eventually, just haven't had time to do that yet, but that is something that's definitely coming. Your seat mounts onto your rail. I normally keep my seat kind of like in the midway range just because my legs are long. I'm 6'2"-ish. Keeping it in the middle gives me enough room so like I'm not like, my pedal distance is perfect, if that makes sense. You know, I'm not too close up to the PDL drive, I'm not too far away. Next thing that I really like is that they give you 3 rod holders on this kayak. You have one up front right beside you, and then 2 in the back, one on your right side, one on your left side. The only thing I don't like about that is I feel like most people cast right-handed. I cast right-handed. So the one on the right side, you'll get snagged up on it if you're not paying attention. So like on your back cast, I always hit it at least one time. One way I learned to fix that when I pond fish is I just put rod holders on the milk crate in the back. Oh, these things too. Right now, they're not that big of a must-have. Oh, this one, you can tell I don't ever take them out. These little scupper hole plugs. So you have 4 scupper holes in the middle of your kayak. When it's cold outside, one, I probably wouldn't be wearing I wouldn't be wearing sandals. I'd probably wear like some boots, some waterproof boots. When it's cold outside, you don't don't want that cold water all on your feet, you know, because it just probably won't feel too good. So I actually got some scupper hole plugs. I only have 2. I need to get 2 more for when it gets cold again. But these basically keep water from filling up in the bottom of your kayak, which it will do, but it drains out. It's not anything to worry about. It's just kind of part of it. But I will say the water is kind of nice to have on a nice hot day. Like the water, you take your shoes off if you're wearing sandals, it kind of like cools your feet, you know. So I'm a fan of these in the wintertime. I just keep them in there year round because there's 2 more scupper holes in the back that aren't plugged up. And I actually use those to hold my scissors. I normally have a pair of pliers on this other side. So scissors, pliers, and I would keep them in my crate, but it's just a lot more convenient. So like if you catch a fish, you can sit down, unhook it, cut line, whatever you need to do instead of like having to reach back behind you. Because one thing I like for everything to be is close, and it's only a 12-foot kayak, but like the closer things are, it saves time. You know, if you want to fish a tournament or something like that, you want to save time. You don't want to have to like spend 3 seconds to find you, because that could be 3 seconds that you just missed a fish you could have caught, you know. So on my seat, I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes I'm guilty of not wearing this life jacket, but I always have it on the kayak with me. If I'm in a pond or somewhere like this where I know I can stand up in, I know you can drown in this much water, but I always have it on the kayak. But if I'm anywhere like rapids or in a creek or anything like that, I always have it on. Just safety, you know, no matter if you can swim or not, you can die if you're in the water, you know. We don't want anybody to die. Always keep the life jacket. This is the Old Town PFD. It's really nice. It has a lot of compartments, and I might have more GoPro batteries in here, honestly. License compartment, you can put lures. It has like a little fly patch on it, I call it, for like your flies, I guess, if you're fly fishing, or if you're just regular fishing, I guess you could put regular hooks in there. That's really nice to have. Let's see what this is. Look, another permission form. See, I do wear it. That might be for like someone that was probably a little sketch. I had my handwritten note. Yeah, so I talked about the 3 rod spaces. Most kayaks have 2. I really like the Old Towns because they have 3. This is one thing that's really cool. That's something I didn't understand at first when I first got the kayak, is how do you steer it? So basically, you have a rudder in the back. Out here on the side, your rudder's in the water, and then you just turn it on this side, and you can change the tension of your handle. So if the wind's blowing or if you're in shallow water, it's not just gonna turn on you easy. One thing that I love this kayak for, but I really don't understand, is the unlatch your seat back here. That's another really cool thing. Like if you're sitting down and like you're hitting rough water, you latch your seat down so you're not like bouncing. You know, you don't ever have to worry about your seat flipping up on you. But kind of do understand, this is the salty PDL, so I think it might have something to do with like saltwater fishing. Like saltwater guys might have a better understanding of this. But this hatch right here, I don't understand how you get into this, because I'd probably flip the kayak trying to reach in here. But I probably just need to do a little bit more research on it and see what people do use it for. I've never honestly used this storage hatch. It's a pretty big storage hatch. It goes from about right here, which is right underneath your seats, all the way in the back of the kayaks. You have a paddle holder on this side, and when I get off the bank, I just drop the PDL drive and then I'm good to go. I don't ever really have to pedal again. Or if you're in pads or something, sometimes your PDL drive will get caught up. So it is always good to have the paddle, especially like, I think this pond actually has a little bit of grass in it in some places, so that's nice to have. Sitting in the kayak, I love it because it's just like a turn away, you know. You can just turn, and then if you have your boxes labeled, if you fish a lot, you know which boxes are which, so there's never any problem. I never have any problem in this kayak. Oh, I almost forgot this. This is another thing I keep normally up here with me, depending on what pond I'm in. We don't really have that many bowfin where I fish at, but we do have a few ponds with chain pickerel in them, and those are toothy fish, so if you want to take a picture with them or put them in the video, sometimes I use these little fish grips just so I'm not having to lip fish. Or if I want to take a picture with it and like keep it somewhere, I would like just attach this to my wrist, put the fish in the water, and just hold it for a second. Really been working on trying to like downsize what I keep in the kayak. So normally I'll keep my tackle back here. Sometimes I won't even take my whole crate. Sometimes I'll just take like 2 or 3 tackle boxes, because most of the time in most ponds around here, I know what I'm gonna fish, or if I'm doing a challenge video, I already know, all right, I'm gonna take these 3 or 4 lures with me, and that's all I need. So I've been working on not taking as much stuff. It's just a little bit easier to maneuver around and stuff when you don't have as much gear with you. But yeah, that's pretty much what all I do on my kayak. Pretty self-explanatory. I just put it in the water and I try to stay as parallel to the bank. If it's a deep bank, I try to stay pretty parallel to it. I like to cast down the bank, just because I feel like it kind of cuts out having to face the bank and go down. Say this is the bank here and the water's here. I like to go like maybe about 6-7 foot off the bank and just like cast down the bank, and I feel like you just cover more water that way. And if I reach a good point, I'll fish the whole pond like that, and then I'll come back to like those points where I catch fish, or if there's structure in the water, I'll just cast to the points where the structure is facing the bank, if that makes sense. Yeah, I feel like if you have a kayak, just get creative, cast where it's hard to cast. You'll catch fish, I promise. If you cast where nobody else has cast before, 9 times out of 10, you'll catch a big one. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video about the kayak. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you can maybe do some of the stuff that I do in the kayak. I'm gonna take this off because I can now see myself and I feel like I look a little stupid in that. Old Town Salty PDL 120. I love this kayak. It's great. If you're thinking about getting one, don't think about it, just go get it. I promise I'm not trying to sell you one. I do have a link in the description though if you want to check these out. But I'm not trying to sell you one. I just really love this kayak. It's just a great thing to have, and especially being able to go out by yourself on any body of water. You don't have to buy a trolling motor, don't have to buy a battery. This one is all you need for right now. Thank y'all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you thought about it down below in the comments. Are you going to pick up a kayak? Do you already have a kayak? What do you like to do in the kayak? Also, I want to figure out how to do some hunting videos in the kayak, because I know there's some places around the Cahaba that are public. If I could load up a deer, like a nice 10-point in the back of the kayak, you know how manly that would feel coming down the Cahaba? I'll probably pedal all the way back. All right, I'm not gonna get into that rant. That'll be for a whole nother video. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you thought about it down below in the comments. Old Town Salty PDL 120. It'll be linked down below if you want to check it out. Don't forget to fish them hard and have a good day. See y'all. Alright guys, so don't forget to leave a like on the video. I appreciate all your support on the channel. Stay tuned to the channel because I do have a lot of cool videos coming out, a lot of stuff that's been requested on the channel. I finally got time to film over the little break I took. We just got back from New York, caught my first ever smallmouth bass. It was a giant. You're gonna want to watch that video. We fished a tournament that's coming up. I have 8 or 9 really cool videos about to come out. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel to catch all of that. I appreciate all the support on the channel. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, like all the videos. Go back and like the past 3 videos. Don't forget, send them to your grandma, send them to your auntie, send them to your cousin because they want to watch the channel too. They just don't know about it. I appreciate all the support. Don't forget to fish them hard and have a good day. See y'all.